Squares, cubes and roots. We can write squares and cubes using powers. And when we square a number, we always get a positive answer. This is because same sign gives plus. Therefore, we can write 3 squared is the same as 3 times 3, which we know is 9. Also, minus 3 squared is the same as minus 3 times minus 3, which is also equivalent to 9. However, when we cube a number, we could end up with either a positive or negative result. So 3 cubed is equivalent to 3 times 3 times 3, which is equal to 27. However, minus 3 cubed is equivalent to minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3, which is equal to minus 27. As we know that squaring only gives us positive results, we know negative numbers do not have real square roots. However, positive numbers have 2 square roots. So the square root of 9 would be 3 or minus 3, as 3 squared equals 9 and minus 3 squared equals 9. On the other hand, all numbers, either positive or negative, have only one cube root. So the cube root of 27 is just 3. Hopefully, you have a good understanding of the theory. Now let's move on to some example questions. Question A wants us to find the square of 4. So 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Now let's move on to B. 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5. We know 5 times 5 is 25. So we can write this as 25 times 5. We can then work out 25 times 5. This is a little bit harder to work out mentally, so let's set up our calculation so we have 25 on top and 5 at the bottom. We then do 5 times by 5, which is 25. So we write down the 5 in the last column and carry over the 2. We then do 5 times by 2, which is 10. And we then add the 2 we carried over, which is 12. So we write down 12. Therefore, we know 25 times 5 is 125. And so 5 cubed is equal to 125. Moving on to question C. We need to work out the cube root of minus 27. So as minus 27 is negative, so we know the cube root will also be negative. We also know that the cube root of 27 is 3, as 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Therefore, the cube root of minus 27 is minus 3. We can check this by calculating minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3, which would give us minus 27. Now for part D. Calculate the square root of 1 times 10 squared. So according to Bodmer's, we need to simplify what is in the brackets first. So let's write 1 times 10 squared as 1 times 100, which can be written as 100. As we can see, we need to find the square root of 100. We know 10 times 10 gives us 100. So 100 square rooted will give us 10. But remember, the square root of a number has 2 answers, so we know that minus 10 is also the square root of 100. Let's have a go at some more example questions in the next slide. For question E, we need to square root 9. We know 3 times 3 is 9, so the square root of 9 is 3. We also need to add the second answer of -3. Now on to f. The cube of 2 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. This is the same as 4 times 2, which we know is 8. So 2 cubed is 8. For question G, we need to find the cube root of 27. We know 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So the cube root of 27 is simply 3. On to the last question now. Calculate the square root of 4 cubed. Let's do 4 cubed first. We know 4 cubed is equal to 4 times 4 times 4. This is equal to 16 times 4, which is equal to 64. So we need to find the square root of 64. If we know our times tables well, we should know that 8 times 8 is 64. So the square root of 64 is 8. So that is our final answer. Want to continue learning? Then make sure to click onto the next video in this topic series. But first, if you found this video helpful, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Maths Mentorship. Also, leave any questions you have in the comments section below.